Hey there gamers, DreamcastGuy here. Today we're talking about the worst and most disappointing games of 2025 because I feel like this last 12 months has been incredibly unique. I mean, at the start of 2025, we really didn't know what was in store for this entire year. Almost none of the big games even had release dates. I mean, at the start of this year, in January, we didn't even know what the Nintendo Switch 2 was, and now we have it. Games like Expedition 33, Hollow Knight, Silksong, but I have to say that tucked between the good games, there has been some absolute dumpster fires. I gotta admit that there were a few games that this year actually made me literally mad. So today, I'm gonna do my best to go through, in my opinion, the worst games, the disappointing games, the stuff that was hyped up and ended up just downright sucking. This is my opinion. Feel free to like the video. Tell me the games that you hated the most in 2025. But let's begin with maybe my most controversial take. Let's start. Number 10, Mario Kart World. Now, I'm not going to claim that this is the worst game of the entire year. I still feel like this game is half decent, but as a person that very much loved Mario Kart 8, in fact, I put thousands of hours into Mario Kart 8 and played all the expansion packs and DLC tracks, something about World just to me feels so half-finished. I mean, the graphics are nice, the open world roaming is cool, but it just feels so incomplete. And to me, a lot of that comes to the whole grand tour of it, which is that one of the things that really irked me, that never stopped annoying me, is that instead of having just races on a track, right? You're going through Bowser's volcano or some crazy rainbow road up in the clouds, you have to race to each course. Whenever you're doing this, you'll do a race and then you have to drive across this United States map, going to the next territory, which to me, what really never stopped being strange about Mario Kart World is what it feels like filler. Something about that dead zone, something about racing to the race. It always felt crappy. Also, I do think that a lot of the new items aren't very spectacular. The new music isn't that great. It just in general, I'm not going to say that this is a bad game, but to be the most expensive Nintendo game ever, the first $80 Nintendo game, it's this? Come on. Number 9, Monster Hunter Wilds. All right, so this one's going to be a bit strange because when Wilds initially came out, I absolutely loved it. I actually put quite a few hours of it. It's just originally, when it first launched, I was completely wrapped up in the goodness of it. I very much love the Monster Hunter series, but what makes Monster Hunter so addictive, the reason it is so big and so popular, is that sense of grindiness, that chase item, constantly trying to go against that next big monster, researching its weaknesses, learning how to take it down, teaming up with your friends online, fighting bosses over and over and over again for those rare crafting materials to make the next big blade to take it down, right? But the problem with Monster Hunter Wilds is that this gameplay change they've done is basically making you extremely overpowered. This is the shortest, most paper-thin, most vapid Monster Hunter of all time. Everything you do, this is autopilot. You no longer even go to the monsters. You can auto-run to the monsters, pretty much one-shot them on the first try. Normally, when a Monster Hunter game comes out, people play it for hundreds of hours. And even then, you're constantly getting updates, new monsters, crazy expansions. Monster Hunter Wilds immediately died right after release because it's just too easy. In a game that's not necessarily about difficulty, this has removed the grind. In a lot of ways, Monster Hunter fans say that Wilds feels like it's developed by people that hate Monster Hunter, and sadly, I gotta agree. Number 8, Tony Hawk 3 and 4 Remake. This is one that genuinely kind of hurts me to put on the list, if I'm being honest, because I am a massive fan of all the early Tony Hawk games. I'm the kind of kid where I grew up playing Tony Hawk. I actually got a skateboard in real life and hurt my ankles attempting kick flips and grinds and curves and stuff until eventually my board snapped. But the original ones especially, 1, 2, 3, and 4, they're the ones that to me are the most special. And the remake we got of Tony Hawk 1 and 2 is a masterpiece. It's an interesting blend of new goals, new mechanics, new graphics, but still with that original charm. My biggest problem with Tony Hawk 3 and 4 Remake is that it's not really Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. The name itself is a lie. I mean, this is just literally Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 with the maps of 4 pasted into it. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 used to be big, semi-open world, allowing you to, without a timer, do quests, complete objectives, actually test and learn stuff. Whereas now, honestly, this just feels like, well, a bastardization. And on top of that, it just feels like, whereas when we got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 Remake, a lot of the remade maps, they felt like a true love letter and a reimagining of the best skate parks of all time. Whereas now, this just feels like a cheap cash grab. A lot of the maps look crappy. A lot of the characters don't look good. A lot of the just charm is so clearly lacking that when I got this game, I was legit just sitting there going, really? Why even release it? Number 7, Lost Soul Aside. All right, so this is one that I'm feeling in a weird spot where I can't completely hate on this game. I feel like it's low budget. It's got a lot of issues. It's got bad balancing. It has the most nonsensical story I've ever played. But in a lot of ways, I still enjoyed the combat of Lost Soul Aside. I feel like a lot of my disappointment comes to the fact that they've been teasing this now for years and years and years. It's been one of those like mysterious PS5 exclusives that everybody was waiting for it to come out. It almost felt like a fan project of Final Fantasy 15. It's got a lot of that FF15 DNA, which I love a lot. But when you play it, something about this is just clearly missing. It's super linear. It's super short. You're playing as this guy teaming up with a dragon called Arena, fighting from area to area to try and save the world. But in a lot of ways, it just doesn't feel complete. A lot of this game feels auto-translated. It just feels very, very raw and uncooked. This is one of those games that I think was technically in development for like a decade, and it still somehow feels very, very unfinished. I'm going to say that if you find this game, this is going to be the only game in the video that I say it's not great, but I kind of think you should still check it out. If you find this game for $10, Lost Soul Aside is, well, it's weirdly not great, but I still kind of enjoy how messed up it is. I still have to say that it disappoints me that it should have been easily a lot better than this. Number 6, FBC Firebreak. I am the biggest fan of Remedy games, the makers of Alan Wake, the people that have done so much great stuff with like Max Payne and stuff, and this is so bad. And I have to say that I'm very, very annoyed by it. One of my favorite games is obviously Alan Wake 2. I think Alan Wake 2 is a masterpiece. It is literally perfect. It just plays on so many themes of the original games. It combines all the greatness of Control, but this is an online-only live service shooter that instantly died. In fact, this is the first game ever that Remedy has just released that flopped. It did so bad, they're on their financial reports basically begging people to forgive them for even making it. FBC Firebreak, the servers are immediately dead. The charm of Alan Wake and stuff, in my opinion, is the characters, is the world, is the environments, is that chance to see these weird, cool, time-twisty mysteries, like trying to figure out what the heck is going on while fighting cool monsters. This takes all of that DNA out and instead just says, hey, what if you had a first-person shooter where you're trying to like punch post-it notes with a sledgehammer, where you're trying to run to a shower and rinse off and stuff. This is just so bare bones. In fact, they have already been trying to remake the game after launch to basically fix the tutorial, which was literally busted, expand the maps. This game is so dang raw. I hated it at launch. And a lot of people were immediately, when I first was talking about how much I hated it when it first came out, people were saying I was being too hard. Oh, it's a live service project. It's the first Remedy live service experiment. I should be patient. But games this bad, this is what I feel like is kind of the problem with current gaming. They made this clearly trying to make some sort of box tick. Hey, look, we can do live service. Not everything needs to be live service. Stick to what you're good at. Contained, awesome, incredibly fun single-player games. Number 5, Avowed. Oh my god. So Xbox did not release a lot of games this year. They released a couple like Outer Worlds 2 and I guess Ninja Gaiden 4. They funded that. But Avowed, I felt like this was supposed to be their big game, but not only did it completely flop, not only did nobody even talk about it, but I beat it on Game Pass. Something about this game just feels so lacking. I hate when a game is trying to be funny constantly when it's just not. This feels a bit like if somebody tried to make a really cringy AI comedy mod for Skyrim. In this, you can dual wield different weapons, do different magics, explore at times the world can be cool looking, but Avowed, it's just downright cringe. trying to go through these landscapes and talk to these quirky characters that everybody talks like they're just stuck in a Marvel movie, the blown out colors of it. Avowed, it actually frustrated me because I just hate the fact that Obsidian has done good stuff. This is the people that made freaking Fallout New Vegas. They made the original Fallouts and stuff. How did they come to this point, right? I don't like Avowed. I still feel like Avowed is just such a missed calling. But more than that, clearly the developers don't seem to like Avowed. The fact that they dropped it, immediately stopped talking about it, this is a flop that I think hurt Xbox. And honestly, this is the kind of stuff that I hate is getting released. It feels like slop. Number 4, Elden Ring Nightreign. I'm a massive fan of the entire Dark Souls series, everything that From Software has done, including stuff like Armored Core. But this game, okay, so first and foremost, it launched totally unfinished. You cannot claim this game was not very, very unfinished. This is a procedurally generated co-op roguelike Dark Souls mod. I mean, that's basically what this is. You're playing through Elden Ring, and there's 3 separate nights. Night 1, Night 2, Night 3, and a constantly shrinking ring. Your goal is to rush around the map, finding different power-ups, fighting mini-bosses to get extra weapons and stuff, and try and survive each of the nights, which ends with a very big boss. On the 3rd night, you fight some sort of epic super beastie, right? A 3-headed dog or weird poison insects and stuff. But the problem is that if you make any mistake, this is tuned way too hard. Normally, the fun of Dark Souls games, or especially Elden Ring, is that practice makes perfect, right? Figuring out the routine, going in there, practicing, dying, figuring it out. Whereas, because of the sheer brutality of this, almost every patch for Nightreign has been nerfing it and nerfing it and nerfing it, trying to make it easier and easier and easier. Because since this is co-op, if anything you do is at all wrong, if anybody in your party stops for a second, makes a mistake, falls down, takes a wrong route, get caught in the storm, you instantly lose. Finishing each of these runs takes about 45 minutes, and it sucks when you're like 35 minutes into it and something goes wrong. Now, after launch, they made it where you can now play it 2-player instead of just solo, which didn't even work at all, or 3-player. This game has had so many overhaul patches, and each time I feel like they get closer to something half decent. But as a person that thinks that Elden Ring is the best game of all time, the original Elden Ring I think is a true testament to just how good From Software is. Nightreign, to me, feels like it should have been a free mod at best. Charging $40 for completely reused assets, bad balancing, and honestly sometimes downright terrible assets and stuff. Nightreign, to me, even after having played so many hours of it, gotten every ending, beaten every boss, it's a game that I feel like, honestly, is just still not good. Number 3, Call of Duty Black Ops 7. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Look, you know what? People sort of forget this these days, but Call of Duty used to be the best shooter on the planet. It's the reason it became such a juggernaut of a franchise. Like, every single new Call of Duty would have new modes, new zombies, new weapons, new tuning, new maps, stuff that made you want to be good at it. But for the last, decade of this, every single game is just now weed skins and stupid takedown animations and microtransactions and season passes. This is the worst one yet. Call of Duty Black Ops 7 has a 4-hour campaign that is literally just recycled maps. It is just the Warzone map with cutscenes on top. The story is terrible. The multiplayer is painfully unbalanced and honestly downright boring. People are able to slide, cancel, slingshot around the map. This has the stupidest movement, but even the zombies, which is the highlight of the game, just does not feel good. And on top of that, this game not only has hundreds of dollars of microtransactions in it and like a $200 special edition, Black Ops 7 is filled with AI art. The entire game is literally not real. If you pay money for this, they didn't even pay money to the developers to make it. I've never played a game that I wish I could forget. This, it may not be the top because the 2 games above this are actually worse, but Black Ops 7 really made me really frustrated. I mean, the more I played it, the more I just felt like, man, I cannot believe a franchise that makes so many billions of dollars feels so somehow lazy, so lackluster, so unimportant. Microsoft and Xbox clearly do not care about COD. At this point, it's just slop for the piggies. I mean, I think that honestly, this might be the year where they never recover. I think at this point, every other game is willing to fill that Battlefield niche, right? Number 2, Skate 4. Well, I guess this game is technically just called Skate with a period at the end, but, you know, I grew up enjoying the Skate games. I was much more into Tony Hawk. I liked the arcadiness of Tony Hawk more than the super hyper realism of the Skate games. But I did play a decent amount, especially of Skate 3. And something that Skate did that was always so addictive is the whole ollie system, where basically by flipping the right stick, you could sort of move the positioning of your feet the way you do in real life. How you're standing on a board during an ollie determines the spin, the pitch. Using the triggers would do the grabs and stuff. But Skate just feels arcadey when it shouldn't. It feels like it's trying to find this weird middle lane where it wants to be like a mix of like Fortnite and Tony Hawk instead of being Skate 4. This game almost immediately died. It's free. This is a live service game. Why would you do that? The fun of the Skate 3 especially was meeting pro skaters, was making merch, was growing your brand. It felt like you playing the game were becoming a better skater. Skate 4 is a giant empty city filled with daily quests and store pop-ups, and it just feels like it's such a ruinous intent. Imagine being a kid today and you hear so many good things about Skate, maybe from your parents, maybe from your parents' friends or whatever, right? And then suddenly you finally get a chance to play a Skate game for yourself. And it's this, right? This is permanently destroying the Skate brand. We're never going to get an actual Skate game. Instead, we're going to get Fortnite skins, Fortnite dances, and honestly just the most pathetic attempt at appealing to the youth. Whoever was involved with this, legitimately, what the heck? I hated this game. Honorable mention, Splitgate 2. All right, you know, normally I don't do honorable mentions in videos like this, but I wanted to just tuck this in here because the original Splitgate was fun. It was basically a mix of like Halo and Portal, where it had a lot of the shooting and movement of something like Halo 3, but your gun, your shoulder buttons basically let you shoot an entrance and an exit portal that only you could see through. So every player was able to snipe through it, throw grenades, play capture the flag, do some really interesting, creative, and honestly hard stuff inside of a cool shooter. They decided to delete the first game and launch the second game, but it instantly collapsed. It is filled with hundreds of dollars of microtransactions. You could pay to actually make portals that were basically invisible, the white portal skin. You could get skins that made you harder to see. This was not only pay to win, it had less maps, less features, and less balancing. This game came out and the developers posted 4 apologies and then deleted Splitgate 2. It's gone. Now, the rumor is they're about to try and relaunch it, but to me, I had to tuck this in here because at this point, not only can you not play Splitgate 2, even when it comes back, I don't think you should. Number 1, Mindseye. All right, this is the worst game, and it's also the most disappointing game. I'm going to count it as both. This is by one of the original creators of, well, Grand Theft Auto, right? A guy who basically made the current day sense of perfect open worlds. This game is so buggy. It is so appallingly bad. You're playing as this guy who's basically like a defense contractor guy, and after coming out of the military, you've had your memory wiped. You've got this mysterious chip in your head, and now in the game, you're working for like these mysterious, futuristic, evil tech companies. Every mission is so glitchy. The graphics makes no sense. The faces do not animate. The story doesn't make sense. But more than that, the game breaks constantly. We're not just talking hard crashes. We're talking frame rates in the single digits. We're talking you shoot somebody and they just fall through the level and the quest breaks. This game is legitimately the worst game of the year. And part of my annoyance with it is that you expected better, right? How do you go from Grand Theft Auto to freaking Mindseye? So much of this game felt like it was trying to be like a weird mix of like, I don't know, Saints Row or something like Watch Dogs, and instead we got nothing. Mindseye is so uniquely bad, I think they might be teaching this in school courses at some point, a lesson in what never to do. I despise this game, and at this point, I regret even playing it. If I could get a refund and delete it out of my brain, I probably would. Mindseye, I feel like I had fun reviewing it because sometimes it's fun to just really beat up on an absolute piece of trash. Everybody involved with this, even the lead actors, have essentially disavowed the project. It is wild that this thing even got put out. Thank you so much for watching that video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. I've been doing this now for 10 years, this most disappointing game. I do one every single year. And I gotta say that this year was funny to me that I can't believe there was 2 separate skateboarding games in 1 year, both of which turned out to be catastrophes. To me, that's just it's very strange. I appreciate you guys, though. It's been a very fun year. And already, I'll be honest, the early release dates for 2026, I think next year is going to be even more cooking. And not just because of GTA 6.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.